So I've had now 24 hours plus, a day or so, to digest the Odell Beckham trade to the Cleveland Browns and also ingest the Le'Veon Bell signing with the New York Jets and some other NFL thoughts on what has been a wild start to the NFL offseason, the official fiscal or calendar year, I should say, in the NFL, underway with some extreme moves. As, of course, it's highlighted by the OBJ trade to the Dog Pound and the Cleveland Browns. Of course, by now you've probably heard Jabril Peppers becomes a New York Giant. The 23-year-old former first-round draft pick will take the spot of Landon Collins in the defensive backfield for the Giants. Giants also get the third-round pick, a 95th overall, swapped from the Browns, and the 17th pick in the first round overall from the Browns is now the New York Giants, while Odell Beckham Jr. and that hefty contract go all the way to the city that they used to call the Mistake by the Lake. Now, as far as Cleveland goes, I've been there a few times. It's been a few years, but I thought it was a decent city. I was there in the late summer. Thought it was pretty cool. Not quite the Mistake by the Lake, but it's not quite New York City either. And, you know, my initial reaction to this happening, as you've seen these pictures all over the internet today, and that one doctored up, of course, photoshopped. Odell not yet in uniform, but that's a glimpse of what it will look like with number 13 wearing the pretty ugly colors of the Cleveland Browns, the orange on duty brown, basically, right? Never got the whole color scheme. I only thought one guy, number 44, Jim Brown, maybe number 19, Bernie Kosar. So two guys look cool. All right, three. Ernest Biner, 21, looked cool in that ugly Cleveland Browns getup. Of course, that was the Art Modell Cleveland Browns era I'm talking about. This is the new wave Cleveland Browns era with OBJ leading the charge. And, you know, my initial reaction, I was asked today by a bunch of people, well, what do you think? You're a hardcore, lifelong, DNA in the blood New York Giants fan. And I said, I'm happy. I just figured, you know, I know in last night's initial thoughts, I had some harsh statements for Odell. I still feel sort of the same. Larry of the character. And I guess the way I digested it today was he must have been the ultimate pain in the ass for the Giants to give up on that extraordinary rare type of football and athletic talent. Okay? Because the guy is 26 and he's got some prime years left, but something wasn't jiving behind the scenes, and a lot of things I'm sure we'll never know unless Odell comes out with a book, and maybe he will one day. But he's gone, and I wish him the best of luck. Overall, a lot of people scrutinizing the haul the Giants got. I don't think it's too bad. I really don't. I think Peppers is a player. He'll do a nice job, too, handling the punts and kicks on the return side on special teams for the Giants, an area that, like a lot of areas, they have had struggles with over the last couple of years. My thoughts also went to, well, where the Giants go now. What happens to Eli? Eli is supposed to have a huge bonus kick in, $5 million come Sunday night into Monday. Will that happen? Will the Giants dismiss number 10? Will he become ancient history? So some questions on tap for the Giants as they head into the weekend of what has been a crazy week. It shows you how far NFL football has come. It is year-round. Dominates mid-March. Next month, it'll dominate mid-April with the draft, the combine going on last week. The kid from Oklahoma, the Heisman Trophy winner, Murray, working out at his pro day. That steals some headlines today. But, of course, the main headline going to Odell Beckham Jr. going to the Browns. And I think another thought that I was able to digest and think through today, and it may not make sense. I know the Giants are receiving boatloads of criticism, and especially if you're a fan of the other 31 teams, maybe 30. I'll talk about the Jets in just a moment. You really don't get this. But as a hardcore New York Giant fan, I said this last night right here at 954sports.com. By the way, thank you for your support. Go ahead. I'm asking you please to subscribe to the channel and check out the website. Last night, I had said that the New York Giants had won 4 Super Bowl championships in my lifetime. I remember all vividly, with not one Hall of Fame receiver. The closest they came is to it was Plaxico Burress, who was an all-star in his own right. But you didn't have one guy that was positioned for a gold jacket in Canton. Not like Odell. Will not surprise me if he one day belongs up there in Canton with the numbers he'll put up, I'm sure. Whether or not he gets a ring and he matures enough to become a winner, that's to be seen, and that will be done for now, at least in Cleveland, Ohio. But I didn't necessarily think he was detrimental to the Giants' success moving forward. Okay? So I don't think it was in the blueprint. I don't think you need it. How many of these superstar receivers have won Super Bowls? At least the nouveau era of the diva wide receiver. I'm not talking about Jerry Rice. I mentioned his name, I think, last night in the class of a diva wide receiver that had played for several teams. I didn't mean it that way. Jerry Rice by no means was a diva. Doesn't fit the modern stereotype wide receiver that we've had in football now for the last 8 to 10 years. So again, my initial thoughts are I think the Giants had to do what they had to do. And I don't think you get that unless you're a New York Giants fan, is what I'm trying to get at. So for the outside looking in, you say, what the hell are the Giants doing? Maybe if you're a hardcore Giants fan, a little, age in you, been seasoned a little bit, you've been through the ringers, you understand it differently, and you say, you know what? They had a clean house. You have to do what you have to do. Now we'll see. Moving forward, what happens to Eli? How do they build around Saquon? How do they build up an old school, kick-ass, vaunted Giants defense that can handle taking care of business? I think that's what you need. That's been the formula I've seen that have led to 4 Lombardi trophies for Big Blue. A ground and pound game, a smart, efficient quarterback, and a defense that handles business. I'm not talking about a bend but don't break defense. I'm talking about a Hall of Fame 1986 New York Giants defense, 85 Bears, Steel Curtain defense, Doomsday Dallas defense, Purple People Eater Vikings defense, so on and so forth. Ray Lewis Ravens ass-kicking defense. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the formula for the New York Giants. Meanwhile, New York Jets getting the 1A, and that's a distant 1A to the 1. This would have been the center page story today as this guy becomes a part of Gang Green. Levine Bell. And the Jets looking pretty good to those New York Giants right there. As Bell becomes a Jet, sits out a whole season at the prime age of 26, same age as Odell. I guess he had his principles. He wanted to get his when it came to the Ducats. He got that. 50+ million for 4 years, 35-ish of it guaranteed. So he gets his money, comes to the Jets, fresh legs, you know that. And I really like the signing for the Jets. I think the price was right for what you pay today for a running back. And again, he got a year off. No wear and tear. Maybe it slows him down. We'll see. I would expect, if healthy, he resumes his activity as one of the best, if not the best, arguably dual threat running backs you have in the National Football League. What special talent you have now in New York. Some great running backs, elite with Bell and Barkley, right? Killer bees. And the Jets now have one to go along with that quarterback of theirs, the young gun, Sam Darnold, who I was impressed with last year. You got Crowder as a wide receiver, a nice young tight end. They'll continue to develop that offensive line, some good players in defense, a new coach who I think is a little weird, but you know what? He's a true football guru, gym rat, Belichick-esque kind of coach. The guy lives and dies for the game. I think there's a lot of rah-rah spirit with him. I think he's going to let Greg Williams do what he wants to do on defense. I think you're going to see some success from Gase as the Jets' coach. I have that feeling. He's just kind of a strange dude. But I like what the Jets are doing. And right now, it may be their time to take center stage in New York. And if you're a Giants fan, I think you unfortunately have to be patient. And that's not a word that you use too often in New York City sports. Remember this. When it comes to New York City sports, you don't rebuild, you reload. And the Giants right now, they might not want to admit it. It might be hard for fans to admit, including yours truly, but this is what a rebuild period is going to be like. This is a rebuild from the foundation up. So get used to it. Hopefully, we'll see better than expected results sooner than later. You never know in today's NFL. You can go from worst to first in a New York minute, so to speak. We'll see what happens. But again, OBJ, I'm already forgetting the guy's name. He's a Cleveland Brown. So live with it, Giant fans. It's time to move forward. He'll do his thing in Cleveland. It'll be interesting to watch. The Jets get Bell. And all we can hope for with Big Blue is the absolute best. It's not even mid-March. Not even St. Patty's Day. And us Giant fans are pulling hairs out of our head.